There are cars in Britain right now that dealers will not buy. Not lowball, refuse. Not we'll think about it, no offer, at any price, don't bring it back. And some of them are cars people paid serious money for 3 years ago. Here's one, documented. £42,000 paid in 2022. 12,000 miles, barely run in, garaged, immaculate, full history. The part exchange offer this January, £16,421. £25,500 evaporated on a car that did nothing wrong. And that owner is not unlucky, he's typical. Used electric values dropped another 10% in a single year and are still sliding. Older diesels are being locked out of city after British City, trading up to 30% below the identical car that's allowed in. Smaller dealers now refuse any electric car in part exchange against petrol, as policy. And thousands of drivers are quietly paying monthly installments on cars worth less than the finance still owed on them. This is not a slow market, it's a trap. And every month you sit in it without knowing costs money you will never see again. 13 cars. Number 1 isn't even a model, it's a situation, and it's the most dangerous thing in this entire video. If your car is anywhere on this list, watch all of it. Before the countdown, you need the mechanism, because none of this is about whether your car is good. A dealer runs one calculation on everything he's offered, and I call it the 90-day test. He must pay you, prepare the car, warranty it, give it forecourt space that another car can't use, and then find its next owner inside roughly 3 months, at a profit. If he can't picture that buyer, the maths doesn't fail politely. It returns no. Every refusal on this list is a dealer who couldn't picture the buyer. And right now, 4 forces are erasing buyers from that picture on specific cars. Force 1, the government's electric vehicle mandate. Manufacturers must hit a rising annual quota of EV sales or pay fines. So every year-end, showrooms carpet bomb the market with discounts on brand new electric cars to make the number. Which means your 3-year-old EV isn't competing with other used cars anymore. It's competing with a discounted brand new one, full warranty attached, parked 50 feet away. No used car wins that fight. Force 2, the emission zones. London first, then Birmingham, Bristol and others, with a queue of major cities having consulted on schemes of their own. Every zone that switches on deletes another city's worth of potential buyers for non-compliant cars. Force 3, supply. The 3- and 4-year leases signed in the EV boom are all expiring at once, pouring more used electric cars onto the market than at any point in history, straight into the weakest demand. And Force 4, the newest. China has arrived. In volume, well-equipped cars, warranties stretching to 7 years, prices undercutting the European equivalents. Whatever your feelings about that, the arithmetic doesn't care. A buyer holding £20,000 can now choose between your out-of-warranty used EV with a battery he can't verify, or a brand new car with 7 years of cover. Be honest about which one he picks. None of this is the fault of anyone who bought in 2022, but it's sitting inside every valuation you're about to hear. 13. Let's go. Number 13, the Fiat 500e. And let's be fair to it, it's a genuinely lovely object, heir to one of the great small car success stories of the century. The electric version's problem is arithmetic, not charm, a small battery, a modest real-world range, and a new price that sat miles above what anyone expects to pay for a city car. In the used market, that combination is poison, because the buyer spending that kind of money demands range, and the buyer who wants a cheap runabout won't pay boutique prices for one. Then there's the badge behind it. Fiat has shrunk to a handful of models in Britain. I covered the 60% collapse in a previous video, and used buyers absorb that even when they can't cite it. Shrinking brand, quiet questions about parts, dealers, support, and every question comes straight off the offer. A charming car. A brutal sell. Number 12. The Renault Zoe. And this one carries a booby trap most people outside the trade have never heard of. For years, huge numbers of Zoes were sold with the battery on a separate lease. You owned the car, Renault owned the battery underneath it, and a monthly battery fee transferred to whoever bought the car next. Back then, it made the car cheaper to buy. Today, it makes it a nightmare to sell, because your buyer isn't just buying a car, he's applying to inherit a contract with a third party. Half the people who view it don't understand the arrangement. The half who do would rather buy literally anything simpler. Stack on top of that a battery chemistry from the dawn of the modern EV era, without active thermal management, in a car designed when nobody knew how these things would age, and you get a vehicle plenty of dealers now decline on sight. Not because it's broken, because explaining it to the next buyer takes longer than the margin is worth. Number 11, and I'll say this one carefully, because the car deserves respect. The early Nissan Leaf. The 24 and 30 kilowatt-hour cars. This was the pioneer, the first mass-market electric car real people actually bought, built in Sunderland, and it worked. Its problem was baked in on the drawing board, and no amount of careful ownership fixes it. That battery is air-cooled. No liquid thermal management at all. And across a decade and thousands of charge cycles, those packs fade in a way the later, liquid-cooled cars simply don't. So you end up with a car that can be mechanically perfect, and showing 8 bars of battery out of 12, with a winter range that won't reliably cover a commute. Now run the dealer's logic. He can't warranty a tired pack, so he can't promise the next owner a range, so he can't sell a car he can't make a promise about. So he doesn't take it. Not hostility. Arithmetic. The Pioneer is being retired by its own first-generation chemistry. Number 10. The Vauxhall Corsa E, and its brother, the Mokka-e. Here's the uncomfortable part. There's nothing much wrong with the cars. Perfectly competent small EVs. What's collapsing is everything around them. The British factory at Luton closed. The parent company, Stellantis, fresh off the worst financial year in the history of the car industry, a £20 billion loss I've dissected in full in another investigation. The cards on screen. And these are early electric models from exactly that stable. Used buyers don't follow corporate accounts, but they absorb headlines. They've heard the factory news. They've heard the badge spoken in the same breath as the word collapse. And so, standing on the forecourt, they hesitate, and hesitation is the whole ballgame, because a hesitant buyer negotiates harder or walks. These cars are arriving on the used market in volume at the precise moment their badge is generating the wrong kind of news. Competent cars, carrying luggage they didn't pack. Number 9. The Mercedes EQC. And pay attention to the pattern here, because it repeats across this whole market. First-generation premium electric cars are being executed in the used trade. The EQC cost a fortune new. It was built on an adapted combustion platform rather than a ground-up electric one, so it never matched the range or packaging of what came after. And Mercedes has since moved its entire electric range on, leaving the EQC frozen in time as essentially the first draft. Now watch the trap close. The person with 60 grand to spend doesn't want somebody else's first draft, he buys the current thing. The person who can only afford it second-hand is terrified of what a battery or a suspension repair costs on a 2.5-ton luxury car out of warranty. Between those two buyers is a gap, and that gap, with nobody standing in it, is exactly where residual values go to die. If any car so far is on your driveway, or you suspect yours is coming, type its list number in the comments. Just the number. By the end of today, we'll have a live map of how many of us are actually sitting inside this, and I suspect it's far more than anyone admits. Number 8 is where the money gets serious. Number 8. The big German flagships, the BMW 7 Series, the Mercedes S-Class, the Audi A8, perennial residents of Britain's worst depreciation lists. And here's the twist most people get wrong. It's not because they're bad cars, it's because they're too good. Every one is a rolling showcase. Air suspension, active anti-roll, 4-zone climate, screens everywhere, computing power on every corner. Under warranty, it's magnificent. At 8 years old, out of warranty, every single one of those systems converts into a pending invoice, and the used buyer knows it, and prices every invoice in. That's how a £90,000 machine becomes an £8,000 or £9,000 machine at 10 years old, and how, even at that price, the dealer still doesn't want it. Because the first air strut that fails on his forecourt costs him more than the whole car is worth to put right. The finest engineering in the world, refused for being the finest engineering in the world. Number 7. Premium plug-in hybrids. The category that ambushes the most intelligent buyers. Because on paper the idea was flawless. Big premium car, Add a battery and a motor. Collect the company car tax break and the fantasy emissions figure. Keep the petrol engine for the motorway. Everybody wins, right up until the day it's sold. Because what reaches the used market is a car carrying two complete drivetrains. A full petrol engine with everything that entails, plus a battery, charger, inverter, and motor. Two of everything that can fail, wrapped in a car that was expensive to begin with. And the punchline, the tax advantage that justified all that complexity belonged to the first owner. It does not transfer. So the second-hand buyer is being asked to pay a premium for complication he never wanted, minus the benefit that excused it. Dealers know this equation cold. It's why these cars grow roots on forecourts. Number 6. Older diesels. Broadly, anything built before around 2015 that misses the Euro 6 standard. If that's your car, this entry is about you, and the number is stark. Non-compliant diesels are now trading between 15 and 30% below the identical compliant car. Same model, same miles, same condition, up to a third less money, decided entirely by which cities the car is permitted to enter. And the direction of travel only sharpens it. When it was just London, a dealer in Yorkshire could shrug. But with a queue of major cities having consulted on schemes of their own, that same dealer now has to ask the 90-day question 2 years forward. Who exactly buys this car next, and where will they still be allowed to drive it? Every new zone deletes another city of answers. One honest carve-out, because this channel doesn't do blanket panic. If you live nowhere near a zone, none is planned, and you intend to run the car into the ground, ignore this entry completely. Depreciation is only real on the day you sell, but if selling is anywhere in your plan, this gets worse every single year, never better, and waiting is the most expensive strategy available. Number 5. Large diesel SUVs. Everything from the last entry, doubled. They carry the emissions problem and on top of it, running costs that make second-hand buyers physically wince. Enormous tires, enormous brakes, complex four-wheel drive systems, and particulate filters that hate exactly the short journeys most owners do and cost a fortune when they clog. The first owner absorbed all of that without blinking. The person eyeing it at 6 years old, at a fifth of the price, very often cannot, and the buyers who could afford the bills are off buying something newer. And here lives one of the cruelest traps in the whole used market. On a forecourt, a big diesel SUV looks like the bargain of the decade, £60,000 of car wearing a £12,000 ticket. That's precisely why dealers handle them with tongs. They know the buyer seduced by that price tag is, almost by definition, the buyer least equipped to pay what comes after it. When a deal looks that good, the cost has simply moved. It hasn't left. Number 4. The Tesla Model 3. And this is the purest example on the list of owners being punished for something they had no hand in. Tesla cut its new car prices repeatedly, and by large amounts. And every time headquarters pressed that button, every used Model 3 in Britain repriced downward overnight. No consultation, no warning, no appeal. The car on your driveway was simply worth thousands less on Tuesday than it had been on Monday, because of a decision taken on another continent. Nothing was wrong with those cars. They remained genuinely good machines. Their owners did everything right. But a used market can't hold a floor when the manufacturer keeps dynamiting the ceiling, and the people who absorbed every single cut were the ones who'd already paid full price. If you bought in the boom years, that gap between what you paid and what it's worth now is not your fault, and it is not coming back. Number 3. The Kia Niro EV. And this is the case from the top of the video, so let's do it properly, because it's documented and it explains everything. Bought new in October 2022 for a shade under £42,000. Driven 12,000 miles in over 3 years, 4,000 a year, hardly used. Maintained by the book. January's part exchange verdict, £16,421. More than £25,000 gone, on a car that had covered less distance in 3 years than plenty of people cover in 1. Now, the detail that turns this from anecdote into evidence. This owner was no EV tourist. He'd run electric cars since 2017. His first Leaf held its value almost completely. His second, the dealer bought back after a year for what he'd paid, because demand was so far ahead of supply, they could still profit on it. Same man, same careful ownership, same charging habits. The only thing that changed was the market underneath him, from a world where used EVs were gold dust to a world drowning in them. Call it the £25,000 lesson. In this market, how you treat the car barely moves the number. When you bought it, and what arrived after, that's the number. Number 2 isn't one model, it's whichever car sold the best. And I know how backwards that sounds, so stay with me. In Britain, the hardest depreciating cars are routinely the biggest successes, not the flops. The mechanism is brutally simple. A model that sold in enormous numbers 3 years ago returns to the used market in enormous numbers today, all at once, as the fleet deals and finance terms expire together. Every dealer in the country has one. Several have 4. And when a buyer can choose between 40 identical cars within 20 miles, price stops being a discussion and becomes a race downhill. Meanwhile, the oddball, the spec nobody ordered, the model everyone overlooked, quietly holds its money because its 3 interested buyers have nowhere else to go. So, if you bought the sensible, popular, obvious choice, you did nothing wrong. You just joined an extremely long queue, and the day you try to leave it is the day you find out how long it is. And number 1, the question mark from the start of this video, isn't a car at all. It's a situation, any car on which you owe more than it's worth, negative equity, and an uncomfortably large slice of Britain is sitting inside it right now without knowing, because on the surface nothing looks wrong. The payments go out, the car starts, life continues. Here's the machinery. On a personal contract purchase, the finance company sets a guaranteed future value the day you sign. The balloon, their estimate of what the car will be worth at the end. The entire deal balances on that one guess. If reality lands above the guess, you have equity. Trade it, roll it into the next car, carry on. But when reality lands below it, and on electric cars these past 3 years, it has landed below it again and again, you're welded in. You can't part exchange without producing the shortfall in cash. You can't sell privately without settling the finance first. You're paying monthly for value that no longer exists, on a car you may no longer even want. And here's what makes it number 1. Nobody discovers negative equity on a calm day. They discover it the week life changes. A job in a new city, a baby on the way, an illness, a divorce. The exact moments a person most needs the freedom to change their car. They walk in to swap it and learn, at the desk, that they can't afford to. That's the trap, not the depreciation itself, the timing. It locks the door at the precise moment you need it to open. Before the fixes, one piece of trade knowledge that reframes every valuation you'll ever get. When a man circles your car with a clipboard, he is not really valuing your car. He's estimating exactly one thing: who pays me for this next, and how many days do I wait for them? Paint, tires, mileage, history, they all matter, but only as levers on that single number. So when he returns with a figure that feels like an insult, he usually hasn't decided your car is rubbish. He's decided he can't see its next owner, and a dealer who can't picture the buyer always defends himself with the price, because the alternative is his own money gathering dust on the forecourt for half a year. Which is why arguing never works. You can't debate a man into seeing a buyer who isn't there. But it tells you precisely where your power is. Hand him anything that shortens the wait he's imagining. A complete service history in a folder, not a promise. Fresh tires. A clean, advisory-free MOT record. On an electric car, a battery health certificate. Every one of those physically shrinks the number of days he pictures the car sitting. And the days he pictures are the entire anatomy of his offer. The people who get destroyed at the valuation desk are, almost without exception, the people who turned up holding nothing but the key. Now the honest other side, because this channel deals in the whole picture. Not everything here is grim, and some of it is already turning. The newest used EVs, under a year old, have begun to stabilize, their retained values climbing from roughly 52 to 56% of list over the past year. That's a market finding its floor. Older petrol cars, meanwhile, have been traveling the opposite direction entirely, rising, not falling, and if you've kept a decent one, I've made a whole video on that quiet windfall, the cards on screen. And flip the lens completely. Every horror story on this list is a bargain wearing a warning label. Somebody is buying that £42,000 Nero for 16.5, And doing extremely well, because an EV also hands back £700 to £1,000 a year in fuel savings, which quietly refunds a serious slice of the depreciation. Run one for 10 years instead of 3, and the entire argument of this video inverts. The market isn't punishing electric cars, it's punishing short ownership of them. So, what do you actually do? First, the filter. If you're keeping your car until it dies, genuinely, then close this video in peace, because depreciation only becomes real on the day you sell, and if you never sell, it never happens. Every owner of a 200,000-mile car understands this in their bones. If selling is in your future, 3 moves. Move 1. Today, phone your finance company and ask for the settlement figure, the specific number to clear the finance now, not the sum of remaining payments. Put it next to the car's honest market value, and you'll know in 1 minute whether you're free to move or already in the trap, and knowing early is the entire game, because the trap only deepens. Move 2. Sell privately rather than part exchanging. The dealer must build in margin, prep and warranty risk, and that stack typically costs you between £1,000 and £3,000. And on the cars in this countdown, private sale is frequently the difference between a sale and a flat refusal. Move 3. If it's electric, buy a battery health certificate from an independent tester before you list it. The single biggest reason dealers refuse EVs is a battery they can't verify and therefore can't promise to the next owner. Hand over a certificate and you've deleted their main objection before they've spoken it. And if you're buying rather than selling, then read this whole list backwards. 13 categories of genuinely capable cars, priced at a discount for reasons that have nothing to do with how they drive. One person's trap is another person's opening. Now, the data I actually want, because between everyone watching, this comment section is a better price guide than anything the trade publishes. What have you been offered, and for what car? And has anyone been refused outright? Told, at any price, no. Name the car, the year, the number. Every answer builds the real map of what's happening on British forecourts right now. If someone you know is about to part exchange blind, send them this first. The settlement figure call alone could save them thousands. And if you think this is uncomfortable, there's something else heading for British drivers that almost nobody is talking about yet, and it touches far more people than this list does. That's the next investigation. Subscribe so you don't miss it.